What if the difference between a night of restless tossing and a night of deep restorative sleep isn't a supplement bottle labeled magnesium glycinate? What if it's already sitting in your kitchen? Magnesium glycinate works because it fuses a calming mineral with a calming amino acid called glycine. And tonight I'm showing you 20 foods and pairings that deliver both halves of that equation naturally. Most people don't realize that glycine and magnesium rarely show up together in a single ingredient, which is exactly why magnesium glycinate was created as a supplement in the first place. But traditional kitchens have been pairing collagen-rich cuts with mineral-dense plants for generations, long before anyone had a name for either compound. Stick around, because number 11 pairs a cut of meat most people throw away with a seed that delivers more magnesium per handful than almost anything else on this list. And number 19 turns a humble broth into a dessert that quietly calms your nervous system before bed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we post new videos every week connecting cutting-edge nutrition science with the foods your body was built to thrive on. Let's get into it. Here are 20 magnesium glycinate-rich foods that will heal you instantly, ranked from remarkable to absolutely extraordinary. Bone broth with pumpkin seeds. Bone broth is simmered for hours, specifically to break down collagen into gelatin, one of the richest natural sources of glycine there is. Stir in a handful of roasted pumpkin seeds, which deliver around 150 milligrams of magnesium per quarter cup, and you've paired both halves of the equation in one warm mug. Collagen peptides in a spinach smoothie. Unflavored collagen peptides dissolve completely into a smoothie while quietly supplying a concentrated dose of glycine. Blend 2 scoops with a cup of spinach, which contributes roughly 157 milligrams of magnesium on its own, and you've built a breakfast that works like a calming supplement in liquid form. Slow-cooked beef shank with Swiss chard. Beef shank is loaded with connective tissue, and hours of slow cooking dissolves that tissue into glycine-rich gelatin that thickens the broth around it. Serve it over a bed of wilted Swiss chard, one of the most magnesium-dense leafy greens available, delivering close to 150 milligrams per cooked cup. Chicken feet soup with black beans. Chicken feet are almost pure skin, tendon and cartilage, which makes them one of the single richest glycine sources in any traditional cuisine. Simmered into a soup with black beans, which add around 120 milligrams of magnesium per cup. This dish becomes a genuine mineral and amino acid powerhouse. Oxtail stew with quinoa. Oxtail contains dense marrow and connective tissue that release glycine slowly over a long simmer, giving the broth a naturally thick, gelatinous body. Served over quinoa, which delivers around 118 milligrams of magnesium per cooked cup. This stew becomes a complete recovery meal in a single bowl. Turkey bone broth with almonds. Turkey bones simmered low and slow release the same glycine-rich collagen found in beef and chicken broths, just with a lighter, milder flavor. Stir in a small handful of sliced almonds, which contribute around 80 milligrams of magnesium per quarter cup, for a warm evening mug that does double duty. Pork bone ramen with sesame seeds. Pork bones simmered for many hours produce the cloudy, rich broth traditional ramen is known for, a direct result of collagen breaking down into glycine. A sprinkle of sesame seeds on top adds a concentrated final layer of magnesium, since sesame seeds are among the more mineral-dense seeds in any kitchen. Fish head soup with edamame. Fish heads and collars are packed with skin and cartilage, making them a traditional and often overlooked glycine source across many coastal cuisines. Add a cup of edamame to the pot, which delivers around 100 milligrams of magnesium, and you've built a light but mineral-dense evening soup. Gelatin-Set Broth with cashews. Chilling a rich bone broth until it sets into a soft, jiggly texture is proof of just how much glycine-rich gelatin it contains. Stir crushed cashews through the warm broth before it sets, adding roughly 80 milligrams of magnesium per quarter cup, for a savory, calming snack. Beef tendon stew with brown rice. Beef tendon is almost entirely collagen, and a long simmer transforms it into a soft, glycine-rich addition to any stew. Served over brown rice, which contributes around 84 milligrams of magnesium per cooked cup. This dish has been a staple in slow-cooked cuisines for generations. Chicken skin and cartilage stir-fry with tahini. Chicken skin and cartilage are usually trimmed away and discarded, yet they carry one of the highest glycine concentrations of any poultry part. Stir-fried and drizzled with tahini, which delivers around 25 milligrams of magnesium per 2 tablespoons. This becomes a surprisingly nourishing dinner. Marrow bone broth with dark chocolate. Roasted marrow bones simmered into broth release deep, glycine-rich gelatin, along with a naturally savory flavor. Pair a warm mug with a square of dark chocolate containing at least 70% cacao, which delivers around 65 milligrams of magnesium per ounce. For an evening ritual, pork trotters with lentils. Pork trotters are almost entirely skin, tendon and cartilage, making the broth they produce one of the most gelatinous and glycine-dense of any cut. Simmered alongside lentils, which add around 71 milligrams of magnesium per cooked cup. This dish has fed working households for centuries. Lamb shank with spinach. Lamb shank contains generous connective tissue that slowly releases glycine into the braising liquid over several hours of low heat. Served over wilted spinach, which delivers close to 157 milligrams of magnesium per cooked cup. This becomes one of the more complete dinners on this list. Duck bone broth with walnuts. Duck bones, simmered for hours, produce a rich, glycine-dense broth with a slightly deeper flavor than chicken or turkey. A handful of walnuts stirred in or served alongside contributes around 45 milligrams of magnesium per quarter cup, along with healthy fats that support absorption. Fish collagen broth with buckwheat noodles. Fish bones and skin simmered into broth yield a lighter but still meaningful glycine content, especially when the skin is left on during cooking. Serve over buckwheat soba noodles, which deliver around 86 milligrams of magnesium per cooked cup, for a light but mineral-rich bowl. Chicken wing soup with pumpkin. Chicken wings are mostly skin, cartilage, and small bones, which makes a simmered wing soup surprisingly glycine-dense for how little meat it contains. Add cubed pumpkin to the pot, which contributes a gentle dose of magnesium along with natural sweetness that balances the savory broth. Beef bone broth with avocado. A classic long-simmered beef bone broth remains one of the most reliable glycine sources in any kitchen, built entirely from collagen breaking down over time. Serve alongside sliced avocado, which delivers close to 40 milligrams of magnesium per half fruit, for a simple, grounding pairing. Egg white and gelatin custard with chickpeas. Whisking unflavored gelatin into egg whites and gently baking them creates a light, glycine-rich custard that feels like dessert. Serve with a small side of warm chickpeas, which contribute around 79 milligrams of magnesium per cup, for a surprisingly balanced evening treat. Slow-cooked pork belly skin with sunflower seeds. Pork belly skin, rendered slowly until tender, is loaded with the same collagen that gives bone broth its glycine content, just in solid form. Finish the dish with a scattering of sunflower seeds, which deliver close to 100 milligrams of magnesium per quarter cup, for real texture and mineral density. If you made it all the way here, you now have a complete blueprint for pairing glycine-rich cuts and broths with magnesium-dense plants, seeds, and nuts. The exact combination that magnesium glycinate was designed to imitate in pill form. No supplement bottle required. Build your base around a slow-simmered broth or a collagen-rich cut. Then layer in a magnesium-dense partner, a leafy green, a bean, a seed, or a nut. Consistency over time is what allows these two compounds to build up and do their quiet, steady work in your muscles, your nervous system, and your sleep. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about your evening meal. Drop a comment below and tell me which pairing you're making first. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Because the most powerful healing strategy doesn't come in a bottle, it comes on your plate.